everybody, PlanetWalls here. We are back for the fourth round of the third qualifier tournament in Classic League. I'm playing against Moon Khan, who's playing a GG Oath variant, but also Show and Tell, so GG Shoth, I guess is the proper name. I'm going to go through this really quickly since he's waiting for us. We got 2 Wastelands and a Strip Mine to worry about. There are 3 libraries, so his mana base looks especially bad. But I'm actually still nervous about playing against this deck. Oath with the Dragon Breath in it is a lot more frightening, even if a little more inconsistent. Meddling Mage is going to name Oath of Druids in game 1. He's also got Force Wills, though, to defend against that. He accidentally has a I assume accidentally, has a Darksteel Colossus instead of a Blightsteel Colossus, which actually makes our Magus of the whatevers a little worse. He's also got Time Vault Voltaic Key, some Mana Ramp, a random Jace, and he can tinker into Key or Darksteel, I guess, but that's not extremely powerful because, because the Key and Time Vault was really the only option to win really quickly since Darksteel is not a Blightsteel. In the board, what I can worry about, I think maybe Hurkyl's Recall if he wants to deal with Chrome Mox. These Flusterstorms are additional counter spells. He also has Spell Pierce in the main and a random Nature's Claim, which could both be problems, and a Duress and a Thoughtseize. He doesn't have much to bring up against me. I think maybe Blazing Archon is something you'd bring in, but I have Swords to Plowshares, and he knows that. So the Abrupt Decays are the real thing I'm worried about, though he might bring Flusterstorm in too. I don't know what he boards out. He probably boards out a Darksteel Colossus and maybe just keeps the... I don't know, he probably has to keep 2 creatures in order to consistently win. But I bet he boards out a Darksteel, maybe a Dragon Breath, which seems like an option to use. And I'm not sure what else. The weird part about playing against decks like this that are powerful, but not always consistent, is that it's hard to know why you're winning and losing. It could just be that I'm winning because he has inconsistent draws and mana, and while Library of Alexandria is really powerful, maybe he just has like 2 of those and can't cast any of the spells he needs. That's totally possible. I could also just lose in a similar way. You could just first turn tinker out something that I can't deal with, right? We're going to see how it goes, and I'll see you in the game. Alright, and we're off. I actually don't think my odds of winning this round are very good, but I think they're better than 2 rounds ago, and the first round we played. He's on the play, which is good for him. Yeah, I said GL. Sometimes it just doesn't show up in the chat, so I don't know what to do. But my guess is that he's in an advantage, but less so than some other matches. Now, this is kind of... Here's the thing. Meddling Mage is really good against him, but lands are also really good against him. So I could... If I draw a Chrome Mox too, I could pitch a Swords to the Chrome Mox, and that'd be fine. Swords are only good against Darksteel and Grizzlebrand against him, which I guess isn't bad. But these 2 Meddling Mages are really attractive as options to keep. I'm kind of tempted to keep this hand and just hope that in the next 2 draws we hit a land or a Chrome Mox. The odds of that are, let's see, so a third of our deck is land. He could also have a Strip Mine, which would make us lose, but he only has 1 of those. I could load up our deck here, but we have 19 lands and then 4 Chrome Mox, so that would be... we have 1 of those 19, so there are 18 cards in there out of 53, plus 4 Chrome Mox, so 22 out of 53. I'd say those odds are pretty good over 2 draws, so I'm going to keep this hand, because I think we only need 2 lands for a little while. He mulliganed to 6. Makes it a little less likely as a Strip Mine, but still totally possible. We also have a Force Will to deal with a Quick Oath, which is important. And we draw something really bad in this matchup. So I'm not going to crack the Flooded Strand until I have to. I'm going to let him do this. Then again, he could have a fetch land and draw a whole bunch more stuff, but I think just countering the relevant spell is much more important. I think this lets him know I don't have a mental misstep in my hand, because I definitely would have used it there. Even though he has Spell Pierce. Okay, he didn't have a fetch land, that's good. Means his Brainstorm wasn't that good. And we really want to draw a land here. It's not looking great if we don't. And we didn't. That's actually pretty bad. So I think what I'm going to do is actually pitch a swords here, because I think it's just, I think the energy field is better to pitch to Force Will. And looks like we won't have to pitch anything, because I'm definitely countering that. Probably would have found a strip mine. Okay, we'll take that token. Demonic Tutor, huh? I actually think I want to counter that, so he doesn't strip mine our land. This means if we ever draw another land, our meddling mages are really powerful because his tutors are now going to be gone. And he must not have an oath. Oh, come on. The odds were definitely in our favor for drawing a land one of these turns. We just, as I said, needed one. So I actually think this was an okay keep. And he hasn't been doing anything, so... Oh, come on. Okay. Somebody must be using the Shuffler Demon on me. Now we don't have any real defense against an oath either. And we have a lot of almost useless cards in our hand. We drew our land, obviously, so I'm feeling pretty good. And I am definitely going to be playing... I don't think Rest in Peace is going to be excellent right now. I guess the Dragon Breath goes right into his... has to be in his graveyard, right? Yeah, I'm not really worried about that yet. I think I put down a... Like, he could have Show and Tell too, right? But I have Swords. The only thing he could do would be to Show and Tell an Emrakul. If I draw another land, I can Detention Sphere that. So I think I'd try this. He could Force a Will this. That wouldn't be too surprising, actually. He doesn't have a channel in his deck. I'm going to name Oath of Druids here. Should I name Show and Tell? No, I don't think so. I think naming Oath of Druids is right. But I have another one. Then I can name either Jace or Show and Tell. I don't think I named Jace. The Time Vault combo is the only other thing I have to worry about then. And we drew a card that I don't really care about right now. Okay, so the question is, do I actually name Show and Tell? He could also tinker a Darksteel, and I don't worry about that at all. He could do this combo still. I am really under the impression that doing this and naming Show and Tell is the way to go. Maybe we'll have to pitch a Show and Tell to a Force Will to do this. To counter this. That would be okay with me. No, he pitched a Force Will to a Force Will. Okay, so we still have to worry about him comboing off with a Show and Tell and Emrakul. But Show and Telling either of the other things gets them killed by a Swords to Plowshares. And that's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah, I think it is. That gives us a bunch of options with a Detention Sphere. And then I think actually, all these are white. Maybe I should have dropped it on a white card, because I won't be able to Enlighten Tutor or Swords. So I decided not to do anything this turn. The Rest in Peace is an extraordinary in this matchup. The question is, do I want to Enlighten Tutor for Detention Sphere right now? And if I do that, then I could deal with whatever permanent he landed. But if an Emrakul ends up soaking up a Dragon Breath, that's going to be a problem anyway. But the Dragon Breath I won't have to worry about because the Rest in Peace and because Dragon Breath has to be in his graveyard. So the question is, do I tutor up a Detention Sphere? I actually think that probably gets mental misstepped if I play the Enlightened Tutor, but I'm going to try it now anyway. Okay. So that gives me Show and Tell protection, essentially. And at this point, Grizzlebrand does nothing. He says his library is going to be one turn too slow. I'm not sure precisely what he's getting at. Maybe he's talking about discarding, I don't know, Dragon Breath or something? I'm going to take a sip of coffee. The old 4 p.m. coffee. So next game, when he brings in Abrupt Decays, that makes things a little harder with the Meddling Mage plan. But also Abrupt Decay is hard for him to cast. Needing a green and a black. And I think he might board out the Darksteel Colossus. Making Swords a little worse. Making, as I said, the Magi of the Unseen a little worse. Maybe I said Magus of the Moon earlier when I said that. I don't remember. Sorry, I got a hiccup. Ugh. Held it in. But I'm feeling pretty good about this game right now. I think the only way you could get out of it is through Vault Key, which is totally possible. I mean, he could win that way. How would he kill me with Vault Key? I mean, I guess he would Vault Key, and then eventually he'd be able to play enough lands, I guess, even to just hardcast an Emrakul. I'm actually not sure how he would win. Jace. He would probably kill me with a Jace. Though both of his tutors are gone, so if the Jace were at the very bottom of his library, he might not even be able to kill me. Now that's interesting. That's going to resolve because I don't have any way to deal with it, and that means he has a draw next turn. I'm not sure what he finds. Could be, if he has the Time Vault combo, that would be very difficult for me to get out of. Do I have any reason to do that before combat? Maybe. I think I have all the reason in the world to do it, to use this right now. Okay, so I can cast a Meddling Mage here, which is interesting. I'm going to put these two back on top. This is actually going to be a turn that's really hard for me to figure out what to do, because I don't know if I want to keep Enlightened Tutor up or to drop a Meddling Mage right now, naming something that I'm kind of scared of. What would I be scared of? Jace would... He would have to play a land and a Jace and not tap the Forbidden Orchard to not lose. So I'm not worried about that. I think the only thing I'm worried about is Vault Key, actually. In one of the two, he could tinker up. That's really interesting. What else could he do? So all the tutors are gone at this point. There's also a nature's claim, but I'm not really worried about that. I'm going to name, I think, Voltaic Key with Meddling Mage. Because that's the cheaper one to cast. I could be guessing wrong, though. And this says I don't have a mental misstep, too, because I would just misstep it. This is what I'm doing. He could have also looked for a Tinker there. That could have gotten me. So I don't know if that was right. I like this guy. He's being very friendly, and I'm enjoying playing with him. And not just because I may have guessed right with that Meddling Mage that I brainstormed into. Okay, so we're into sideboarding time, and I think he's bringing these in. He could be bringing in Hercule's Recall, but I doubt it. He might also bring in Flusterstorm as additional counterspells. And I could see Blazing Archon coming in instead of like Darksteel, but I doubt it. My guess is that Darksteel leaves. Maybe the Tinker leaves, though I'm not sure. Maybe a Dragon Breath, not sure. I doubt Spell Pierce would leave, but it's possible. Nature's Claim probably stays in. It's hard for me to tell what he's going to board out, in other words. But I think at least some number of Abrupt Decays are coming in. So I think Misdirections come in for me. They're also good against the Nature's Claim. And are they good against this? No. I think he's probably bringing in all these, so I'm going to bring in the Misdirections. And they're also good against other counter spells, like Spell Pierce. So, okay. That'll be what we do there. Again, I think the Darksteel's going. The Supreme Verdict is okay. With Rest in Peace, it can eliminate stuff from the board. These energy fields are going. Curse Totem deals with Grizzlebrand, but I don't think it's excellent. The Annuls have to come in, and so does the Grafdigger's Cage. All these come in. Except for maybe the Supreme Verdict, which I'm a little bit ambivalent about. Rest in Peace is not extraordinary against him, unless I'm trying to combo win. It deals with the Dragon Breath problem, I guess. Powder Keg doesn't do much against him. Magus the Unseen, what does that do? It can take mana sources, and it can prevent him from winning with Time Vault. And if he does still have a Darksteel, it can take that. I think Magus might actually be okay. I think I'm just going to remove most of the combo kill. I'm going to keep in one Helm and one Rest in Peace. And then, let's see. This Porcelain Legionnaire is pretty bad in this matchup, even though it beats down. Is Supreme Verdict better or worse than a Mist Hollow Griffin? I think it might be worse than a Magus, though I'm not entirely sure about that. Is Supreme Verdict worse than a Magus? I'm not sure about that either. We definitely keep all this stuff in. Actually, a Swords might be bad compared to some other stuff, but keeping one in might be good. I kind of like this plan. Not sure about this, but I think I'm going to roll with this. Again, it's been working better for me just to gain control of the game with Meddling Mages and then beat people out, even though that seems horrible. I'm always resistant to trying to combo people out. Well, this hand sucks. So I can interact with... If he molds, would I keep this? Because I can interact with an Oath that's on turn 2. I mean, a 6-lander is just usually almost terrible, and I would have to draw... So he did mulligan. I would have to not draw very many lands after this. There are 19 lands in the deck plus 4 Chromax. The Chromax are also bad draws here. So this is 6 lands. That means there are 13 Chromax, and there are 17 cards in the deck that I don't want to draw. And then the others are situationally good in my deck. Can I keep this hand? I don't know if I can keep this hand. If he Oaths on the first turn, I just wouldn't be able to do anything. Let's go ahead and mull this. Okay. I'm going to actually keep this hand because of the double Force of Will. At least I can pitch a Supreme Verdict to it, but we'll see if that last hand ended up better. Fortunately, his library won't really be active soon. Oh man. Those Meddling Mages are really good. And he kept a one-lander, and we ripped our island, so here we go. I don't have to worry about Abrupt Decay for a couple turns, so this is naming an Oath of Druids. And then I have a little bit of freedom with the Meddling Mage here. I guess he could Abrupt Decay by playing a Lotus Petal, too. I didn't think of that. I could always Force Will the Lotus Petal. Seems bad. This will probably name Abrupt Decay. Oh man, he's going to be drawing a million cards. That's pretty powerful. So we'll probably wait until my turn to, I was going to say draw the other card, but I guess not. Is he going to Abrupt Decay me this turn? No. So now I think naming Abrupt Decay probably is the right option. The question is, do I want to keep two forces open right now? I don't think I need to do that, but that could be wrong. I think naming Abrupt Decay is probably better. He has to know I'm going to name Abrupt Decay, because that's what I would name. So if he counters this... Yeah, I think that's right. And now I can Enlighten Tutor for something, if necessary. Plus Supreme Verdict is now pretty bad, so I'm anxious to pitch that. He gets to draw so many cards, though. That's insane. Double Active Library is pretty powerful. I wouldn't be surprised if I just lose to that. Okay. Is he just going to be able to hard cast a Grizzlebrand? He needs one more mana to do that. That's pretty scary. So the question is, do I crack this Enlightened Tutor for a Detention Sphere? And that shuts down the Show and Tell plan. I think I might do that. It also gives me a blue card to force. I'm doing that. So this takes me even further away from combo kill range, but that's not how my game is going right now, because I've got the double Meddling Mage out. So I'm not going to play that Detention Sphere, but it's a good Show and Tell protection. And it's a blue card to pitch to a Force of Will. Yep, drawn a million cards. Reading books is really good in this game, but he basically has to look for a win con and maybe counter protection to back it up, because his Abrupt Decays aren't going to be able to do anything right now. His Jace could, if he draws a Jace. His Show and Tell can't do anything because, or can't do much. I guess he could drop a Grizzlebrand, draw some cards because of Detention Sphere, and his Oath is uncastable. Okay, so he's discarding Mana Crypt. That's probably a good decision on his part. Takes him a little bit farther away from hard casting a Grizzlebrand, but he could do that now if he wanted to, it looks like. What can Polluted Delta find? Polluted Delta can find a Bayou or an Underground Sea or a Trop Island. So have I made any serious play mistakes? I've made some decisions that are tough calls, like looking for that detention sphere. That's kind of a tough call. I'm not sure that that was right. Playing that land is going to be right, though. Eventually we'll be able to hard cast Force, and then I think we'll be in really good shape. Just because it means we can keep the other cards as backup. Did he board out for... No, he didn't board out Forbidden Orchard, but he didn't cast it here. So he's given up on the Oath plan, it looks like. And his plan is to combo draw me out. And he might have multiple forces in his hand because of just how many cards he's drawing. He's had a lot of chances to sculpt his hand. So, I mean, the question is, could he get to a position where he could vault key me out, or tinker and vault, or tinker and key, before I have enough counter spells to defend against him? And I think the answer is yes. I think he could. This is also good having 4 lands because it means double spell pierce won't be able to deal with my forces. So I have to keep that in mind here. Do I crack this, you think, to make it slightly less likely that I draw a land here? And then if I draw a Brainstorm's a little worse. For that reason, I think I keep this Flooded Strand uncracked. He discards an Emrakul, which goes back into his deck. Then an Abrupt Decay. Okay. Cool. So we do draw land, unfortunately. I'm going to go ahead and play that land out. Even though I probably won't be hard casting a Force when I'm worried about Spell Pierce. And now Grizzlebrand no longer gains him any cards. So Detention Sphere just got a little better. I do kind of wish this had been a Porcelain Legionnaire up to this point. He's drawn so many cards, but none of them have answered. Maybe pitching the Emrakul wasn't right, because it makes it more likely that he draws the bad cards that he pitched before. But I'm not sure. He can crack a fetch once, but if he does it twice, I kill him. Wow, another library. He could be drawing so many cards a turn. I think he still has a chance to win this, because he's got one more turn to assemble Vault Key. It's also possible that he boarded out Vault Key. That's completely possible. To make room for the Abrupt Decays. Does that do anything here? I don't think I want to play that because I want to keep Spell Pierce protection open. Even though he only has 2 Spell Pierce in his deck, I think that that's the right play. Because I don't think this does enough this turn. What would it do? It would keep his Dragon Breaths from doing anything, though that hasn't happened yet. I'm surprised he hasn't pitched a Dragon Breath, unless he boarded them out. That would actually make sense. Because he probably would board them out when he knows that I'm running Rest in Peace. One thing that I think I've been very successful at is transforming the deck slightly and avoiding the combo, and everybody's prepared for Rest in Pieces to kill them. And so they board out all their good graveyard tech when I don't even board in that much hate. I actually board out some of my hate, and they board out the things that I would be hating. That's at least what I've been noticing. So I have to be very careful this turn, but there's not much I can do except for just countering things. The smart thing he could do, I bet, would be to... Wow, that's scary, actually. I can't counter that. I mean, I could, but I don't think it's right. If he could lay down... What could he do? He could play out a single combo piece, and then I wouldn't know whether to counter it. That's possible. Notice that he didn't use his libraries this turn, so he didn't want to draw a million cards. Yet. So it looks like he wasn't able to draw out of his situation, even with the number of cards he was drawing. Um, I guess answer diversity is really important in this format when Meddling Mage is a possibility. Um, but it looks like we've got this game. I'm going to probably end the video here, but if something exciting happens, I'll restart it. Thanks for watching. Yeah, he just GG'd, so it looks like we've got this match. Well, he just drew a Brainstorm. I'll reveal my hand after this is over to him. But I did feel pretty good about this game, even with the number of cards he was drawing, just because of the double force that I have in my hand. That he would have to basically draw a bunch of cards with a bunch of dead cards in his deck, find all the good ones, and also be able to defend it. Yeah. So he is noting the importance of Abrupt Decay. I'm going to credit myself a little bit with recognizing that he was going to be bringing in the Abrupt Decays and maybe taking out some elements of deck like the Dragon Breath. So, thanks for watching. I revealed my hand. Bye-bye.